In chapter 23, we begin to consider cases where there is a guttural as one of the three root letters of a verb. However, that guttural is in either the second root letter or the third root letter. Chapter 23 will cover cases where you have a second guttural root letter or where the third root letter is a chet or an ayin. Future chapters will cover cases where the third root letter is either an aleph or a hey. The same characteristics of gutturals that we were looking at in chapter 22 are again relevant in the second and third guttural positions in the root. And once we account for these tendencies, the cal perfect and imperfect of the second guttural verbs will provide no surprises. The only change, as you should be used to by now, is that the guttural requires a compound schwa instead of the strong paradigm's vocal schwa. If you have learned the strong paradigm well, the gutturals should give you no surprises once you account for this simple fact. For instance, the cal perfect of katal is, as you know, katal, katala, katalta, katalt, katalti, katalu, kataltim, kataltin, katalnu. With ba'ar in the cal perfect, a guttural now in the second position, the ayin, the only change is that where you would have had a schwa under the second root letter, like the third feminine singular, katala, we now have a compound schwa, ba'ara. So the paradigm would be ba'ar, ba'ara, ba'arta, ba'art, ba'arti, ba'aru, ba'artim, ba'artin, ba'arnu. In the imperfect, the same phenomenon is working. However, the situations in which you have a compound schwa are in different person, gender, and number. You would have something like the second feminine singular, which in the cal imperfect has a vocal schwa under the tet. Therefore, in the cal imperfect of ba'ar, we'll have a compound schwa under the second root letter, the ayin. So we have yiv'ar, tiv'ar, tiv'ar, then tiv-ari, ev-ar, yiv-aru, tiv-arna, tiv-aru, tiv-arna, and niv-ar. Again, in the cal, it is simply the tendency for a guttural to take a vocal schwa that is operative in understanding the changes due to a second guttural root. This same change will occur in forms of the cal imperative, the feminine singular and masculine plural, or the cal participle, masculine plural or feminine plural. The only thing you need to remember is that a guttural will take a compound schwa, and if you've remembered your paradigms well of the strong verb, you simply replace the simple schwa with the compound schwa. Just a couple examples from the text. Judges 15:14. Ka pishtim asher ba'aru va'esh. Like flax, which has burned with fire. Ka, the preposition like, pishtim, flax. Notice that in form it's a plural noun. Asher, the relative, which. Ba'aru, cal, perfect, third common plural of ba'ar. Because we have a middle radical, the second root letter, which is a guttural, it takes a compound schwa instead of the simple schwa of the paradigm of katalu. Why is it a plural perfect verb? Because the subject is plural. Like flax, which burned, va'esh, bait with, esh, fire. Like flax, which has burned with fire. Or Ezekiel 1:13, Mar'ehem kagachale esh bo'arot. Mar'ehem, their appearance, and then this is a verbless clause, was like gachale esh, coals of fire, and then the adjective or the participle being used as an adjective, bo'arot, a cal participle, feminine plural of ba'ar. Again, in the typical paradigm form, there would have been a schwa under the second letter, and so now we have a compound schwa. So long as you remember gutturals will take a compound schwa, and so long as you have remembered the paradigms of the strong verb well, nothing should trip you up, and you should be easily able to parse second guttural verbs. You will see the same, in fact, with the nifal, hifal, and hofal forms. As long as you remember to replace a simple schwa with a compound schwa when necessary, you should have no difficulty in parsing and recognizing any of these forms.